Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zang here, and I wanted to bring you another battle on the Rated Battle Special VGC 14 ladder series, where I climb the online ladder and provide live commentary as I go. I feel like I haven't been fairy to you guys since you guys broke the like barrier on the last video a long time ago, but I've been pretty busy with Massachusetts regionals and all. Since the team I brought to Massachusetts regionals, it's a team I actually really don't like because it doesn't have any substantial core. Kind of just slam 6 Pokemon together. I spent most of the morning that morning getting my brother's team together since my brother is in contention for a trip to nationals right now. While I already have a couple championship points, I already have my invite. We both have our invites, but my brother had a bit better of a run at regionals earlier this year, so he needed to do well in this tournament, whereas for me it was just kind of for fun. And the major weakness with this team is the weakness to steel types. Talonflame is the only really check to them. Gardevoir is weak to it. Ferrothorn can't do anything against them. Aerodactyl is weak to them. Rotom Wash, resists them, but Aegislash and Ferrothorn just gave me a lot of trouble. And I knew right from the first round that I'd be screwed for the tournament with this team, and that I probably wouldn't have a good shot at making it deep, just because I saw a lot of Aegislash on very good trainers teams too. But I just wanted to give the team one last run, one last shot at its glory before I completely retire it. Team, of course, Choice Band, Talonflame, Citrus, Gardevoir, Lum, Ferrothorn, Adamant, Mega Kangaskhan, Rotom Wash with the Chester Rest set, and Tailwind Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl's a Pokemon I like a lot, but I don't think it fits properly onto this team, and I actually didn't use it at regionals pretty much at all because it's just too frail, and Tailwind doesn't really help the team too much when, Ferrothorn's not gaining anything from it. Rotom Wash is relatively bulky already. Gardevoir is kind of slow. Gardevoir and Rotom benefit from Mature, but it's not like there were huge Pokemon to take advantage of other than Kangaskhan. On my last teams that I had, Aerodactyl and Charizard Y was the biggest Pokemon to use with it. And that worked really well because they synergized well in Aerodactyl at the wide guard to prevent both of them from getting rock slided. So I'm going to find an opponent, Calum from Mexico, with the 1682 rating, so a relatively highly rated player, and we're going to go into team preview. Calum's team is going to be Garchomp, Tyranitar, Salamence, Rotom Wash, Aegislash, and Manectric. So we see that Aegislash that I'm really, really worried about. That's never a good sight. Aegislash is probably one of the biggest counters to my core of 6. I realized that right after I basically put my team together for regionals. Don't think Aerodactyl is going to help me too much in this matchup. I like the Kangaskhan Gardevoir lead. I like having Rotom here too. I want Ferrothorn badly, but I think Talonflame is more important against Aegislash. But perhaps I should just burn and then Leech Seed. Yeah, I'm going to go with Ferrothorn and see how this goes. He doesn't have any Fire-type Pokemon on his team, but Tyranitar, Salamence, and Manectric are all known for carrying Fire-type attacks, so we'll see how this plays out. He's got a pretty solid core of 6, so you'd have to wonder whether Tyranitar and Garchomp are Mega, but most likely not. I'd assume Manectric is the only Mega Evolution on that team. But you always have to consider the possibilities. Rotom Wash, most likely Citrus Berry, Aegislash. These are all just typical sets, but when I go in team preview, the first thing I think are, what can I expect from my opponent? And I generally generate the typical sets you see from Pokemon, so I start assuming items, sub-lefties on that Aegislash, Choice Scarf on that Salamence, Rocky Helmet on that Garchomp, Life Orb on Tyranitar. It's not good to always just assume the most basic sets, but, you need to be prepared, so generally to give yourself the best percentages when you're going into a battle, I like to just ballpark, what my opponent might have. So let's go into the battle. Of course, I'll be leading with my Kangaskhan, and I believe I chose Gardevoir. It's a lead I actually like a lot, Kangaskhan Gardevoir. It's pretty solid against a lot of lead combos in this format. Calum's going to go with Tyranitar and Manectric, so I am pretty pleased with my lead matchup here, as I do go with Kangaskhan and Gardevoir. Tyranitar Sandstream is going to activate, and this is tricky. I could just go for the Fake Out, and the Will-O-Wisp. The Power Up Punch is tempting onto the Tyranitar too. Just gonna Power Up Punch Tyranitar and Moonblast the Manectric. Let's see how this goes. Fairly aggressive first turn. Kangaskhan not opting to go for the Fake Out, because I know if I get this +1 onto Kangaskhan, that will be huge. But let's see. Of course, I was also tempted to just Fake Out Moonblast the Manectric, but Tyranitar's going to switch out here, but that's good. That means unless Aegislash is coming in. Yep. Great switch by my opponent there. Manectric is going to Mega Evolve. Very nicely played there. Let's see if Manectric protects. If it doesn't, I'm going to regret just not going for the double target onto it this turn. Intimidate's going to activate, not going to matter for Kangaskhan, but obviously, it is going to matter for Kangaskhan, but not going to matter for Gardevoir. Kangaskhan's going to Mega Evolve here as well. Yeah, most definitely should have double targeted that Manectric this turn, but I thought he might have, you know, predicted the double target onto that and actually protect and attack with a Tyranitar. But in perspective, that doesn't make much sense, as my opponent makes a very nice play. I actually would have considered power-up punching myself onto Gardevoir, but the unfortunate thing is I am running Telepathy on my Gardevoir instead of Trace. That was a accidental blunder when I built the Gardevoir, so I need to get a Trace one. And because of that, it doesn't allow me to set up cool plays like power-up punching myself, but what can you do, right? So here I'm going to power-up punch, I think, the Manectric, and I'm going to double target the Manectric with the power-up punch and a Moonblast. That should be able to do enough, at least 50% or KO to anything. That would KO the Garchomp, KO the Salamence, KO the Tyranitar, KO the Manectric. So Rotom Wash is the only Pokemon I don't want to see here. But Garchomp comes in. Sweet. So I'm going to get this power-up punch off, but I assume it's Rocky Helmet, which would be very bad for me. Let's see, the Rough Skin activates. Does it have Rocky Helmet? It does. The dreaded Rocky Helmet. One of the most annoying items to deal against with Mega Kangaskhan. The most annoying item, actually, I'd say. So I'm at +1 now, but Kangaskhan's going to take quite a beating from the item and the Rough Skin ability. But at least I went for the Moonblast onto Garchomp as well. So that should be a KO. Fortunately, don't have to worry about any Sandveil shenanigans, and that's going to pick up the KO onto Garchomp. So, 4-3 lead here, but Aegislash is most definitely picking up a KO here as well. As it does stance change, I'd assume targeting Gardevoir, but let's see. It's going to go for the Flash Cannon. Who does it target? Looks like Gardevoir. Gardevoir hangs on. My Gardevoir is relatively bulky, and it's impressive that it's able to take Aegislash, which does have base 150 special attack, and has that super effective Flash Cannon, but I am pleased with that, you know, I'm not going to complain, as I do take a 4-3 lead here, and I do have a relatively good position, but once again, Aegislash is really annoying to deal with in general. So Manectric's going to come out here, and I'm okay with that. Manectric most likely going to want to pick up the KO onto Kangaskhan, so I'm tempted to just Sucker Punch it. I think, yeah, I'm going to go for the Sucker Punch here onto Manectric and the Will-O-Wisp onto... maybe I should just double target Manectric and KO it. Decisions. Double targeting the Manectric would make sure that Ferrothorn has an easier time, but I don't know what Tyranitar set my opponent is running either. Also debating to switch out Kangaskhan into Ferrothorn. That might not be the worst play, actually. Kangaskhan would be good to have at the end game. Yeah, I'm going to go for the Ferrothorn switch in and Moonblast the Manectric. Let's see how this plays out. He might just be smart enough and just protect with the Manectric and attack with Aegislash, but that's a very aggressive play. But Manectric is going to protect, wow. So my opponent going for the aggressive, but good play. Let's see who this... Oh, the substitute, actually. Okay, that's good. That makes more sense, because my only really viable move there was to Sucker Punch the Aegislash. So we're going to take some sand damage here, but that's fine. I want to bait the Overheat, obviously, onto Ferrothorn. I'm going to just Gyro Ball and Moonblast here. I'm fine with losing one of my two as long as I get substantial damage onto that Manectric. But now that Aegislash is under a sub, I'm in a lot of trouble. Definitely should have gotten a Will-O-Wisp before, and now you see the biggest issue I have with my team. Just Aegislash is a huge Pokemon annoyance to deal with, and Aegislash has become one of the best Pokemon in VGC 14. It always has been. I think, and now I'm finally realizing just how good it is. But what? My opponent's gonna Thunderbolt the Ferrothorn, maybe predicting a switch, or that play makes very little sense to me out of all the plays my opponent could have done. You know, you could Thunderbolt the Gardevoir or Overheat the, I guess, he was probably predicting a switch and knowing that he'd get the KO here, but still a relatively surprising play. I don't think it was my opponent's best bet either, but I'm not going to complain as I'm going to pick up the KO on Mega Manectric, and Ferrothorn manages to escape without damage. So I'm going to take this Manectric out, and that's always good. And I think it's better to bring Kangaskhan in to offer Fake Out pressure, as Tyranitar is going to come out. So the obvious play here is to Fake Out the Tyranitar. I think I'm just going to go Sucker Punch on Aegislash and then Leech Seed. I don't think my opponent can risk just losing Tyranitar this turn. If I could get the Leech Seed off onto Aegislash, that would be great. Otherwise, I'm going to definitely regret not doubling up on Tyranitar, but that's just such an obvious play. I just, I mean, this is one of the cases where, you know, maybe you should just go for the obvious play, but if I really need this Leech Seed onto Aegislash. So, my opponent taking a rather long time. Don't blame him. This is a very, very big turn, I think. And it's really between whether he fakes out, protects with Tyranitar or he doesn't. But he does protect with Tyranitar. That's good. Let's see what Aegislash does. Does it King Shield? Nope. It is going to attack. This is great. So I'm going to get this Sucker Punch off. It's going to break the substitute. And obviously do more damage with the second. And it is in its original stance. Oh, Weakness Policy. Wow. Right, I should have assumed that since I didn't see Leftovers. Weakness Policy is another common item on Aegislash. Leftovers, a bit more common, but the Slash Cannon is going to target my Kangaskhan. Hopefully I hit my Leech Seed here. If I do, I will be perfectly fine. Let's see if I can hit it. I do. Nice. So that's huge. That's huge. I made the correct play there, fortunately. And as I think my opponent really had to go for that play too, because if he lost Tyranitar, playing down 3-1 is just no good. So I feel a lot better about my case now, especially since the sand just went down. I have Rotom Wash as my last Pokemon, so even if this Tyranitar is special, I feel okay about my chances. We're going to protect here with Ferrothorn and Thunderbolt the Aegislash just to try to KO that before anything else, so I could make it a 2-on-1. Fortunately, Aegislash hasn't been as annoying to deal with because it's not the leftover set, so I'm actually happy playing against the Weakness Policy set. But Tyranitar is going to reveal itself to be special, but it doesn't look like it has a fire type attack. It looks like it's just going for the Ice Beam, and I'm going to KO Aegislash. So this game looks like it's going to be a victory for me, but it's not over yet. I still have to hit a couple Hydro Pumps, and I actually lost one of my 3 games at Regionals this year. At Massachusetts, because I missed a Hydro Pump, my opponent got a double protect, and I forgot to PP up my Rotom. Like, what a new move that is. I used to use Modest Rotom a lot, and now I'm using Calm Rotom, and because of that, my Modest one has the 8 PP, my Timid Calm one doesn't. Opponent's going to crit his Dark Pulse here, but he does not going to flinch me, and Hydro Pump's going to hit here, and with that and Gyro Ball, that should effectively end the game. Hydro Pump's going to nearly KO it, Gyro Ball's going to finish it off, and so that's going to be a 2-0 win for me here. Pretty good game, actually. I think it shows a lot of outmaneuvering your opponent when you don't have the best matchup. The biggest confusing turn to me was when he went for the Thunderbolt onto Ferrothorn. You'd have to assume he just assumed that a switch-in was coming. Maybe he didn't have Overheat, but I guess it was a predict. But I was perfectly happy with that. Sometimes you just have to go for the biggest risk, and it can actually pay off. Anyway, that's it for today's battle, guys. Let's up the like barrier to 400 likes. See if we could break that for another video. So if you guys break 400 likes, I'll bring a video to you guys right afterwards. If not, whenever I can. Anyway, that's it for today's video, guys, and I'll see you next time. Alright, peace.